Hello and welcome to 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Tom Garrett along with Alex Bregman. And today we get to talk about regular season baseball. Opening day in Texas. The spring training is over. Mexico is over. Now it's more tears, more lights, more attention, more pressure, and more expectations for the Boston Red Sox. This team is expected to make the playoffs. It's been a while since we've talked about that on opening day.
Total reversal of what we've dealt with for the last handful of years, where we have approached from 2020 through 2024 a circumstance in which it was going to be surprising for the Red Sox to be a playoff team or to be competing for the AL East. This year, it would be a surprise if they did not make a play, if they did not secure a playoff spot, if they did not compete at least for the AL East. So this is a very different team, a very different dynamic that we've been looking at throughout the spring.
Alex Bregman is going to join us in just a few minutes. The kind of centerpiece, the cornerstone, the final piece in the reconstruction that Craig Breslow put together this offseason. But let's start with the starters, because Garrett Crochet is going to be on the mound opening day. I keep saying by May 1st, Garrett Crochet starts are going to be events in Boston. We haven't had a guy like that at the top of the line, maybe since Chris Sale.
Yeah,
it's kind of got that feel, right?
Yeah, I think you're pointing to the right guy, and obviously there are a number of interesting career parallels. Not perfect, because Chris Sale was an amazing pitcher starting pitcher for a number of years in Chicago, but the fact that you're looking at a mid-career trade at a relatively young point in their careers, at a time when they've shown the ability to have the most electric stuff in baseball from coming out of a left hand, there's a lot that's very interesting there. And man, Crochet has been nothing but dazzlingly impressive. I believe he had a 46% strikeout rate in spring training. I know that we do not care about spring training stats, but I don't care about what time of year it is. When you're striking out 1 out of every 2 hitters, basically, over the course of it can be in the backfields, minor league games, doesn't matter where. That means that you have really good stuff. And in fact, that's the highest strikeout rate by any starting pitcher in baseball this decade. In spring training.
This decade in spring training. It is incredible. Walker Buehler, he'll pitch third, but essentially the number 2 guy you brought in. And it's just a different feel. I mean, you've added to the top, you've added depth on the back. This rotation feels like it will give the Red Sox a chance to win every night, and that's what good teams have.
Yeah, well, and there's also a little bit more there. The depth part of it is what makes it different, right? Because last year they truly had a really good rotation through the first half of the season. It's just that group wore down because they had to be going out there every 5 days. And the Red Sox were one of the teams that had the most starts in baseball last year on 4 days of rest. We've seen Major League Baseball as a whole move towards a 5-day of rest schedule, if not more, right? The Dodgers, I think, had a dozen starts last year that were made on fewer than 5 days of rest. So we aren't going to see that initially. Initially, we're going to see the Red Sox on a straight 5-man rotation, but they position themselves, once the off days start rolling around in mid-May, to be able to take advantage of that, and to be able to, we've seen a Richard Fitz step up, even though they're going to open the year with 3 pitchers on the injured list, which is a lot. That would have been a massive crisis last year. This year, they're able to withstand it with pitchers who they're reasonably enthusiastic about having, and there's no discussion of openers or bullpen games in the first week of the season.
Well, it was something, right? Because when you talk about the guys they lost, you're not only talking about 3 guys on the injured list to begin the season, but you're talking about a philosophy that we'll take our time because we need them pitching in October.
Right.
It's no longer scratching and clawing. I mean, you want to win every game you can win. But it's no longer, we better win a lot of games at the beginning if we're going to have any chance of making the wild. Now it's like, no, we think we're a playoff team. We better make sure these guys are ready down the stretch.
Right. Well, I mean, and we've already heard the discussion, for instance, from Alex Cora talking about how Jarren Duran isn't going to be pushed to red line at 160, 162 games this year. Instead, he's hoping for that 150 to 155 over the course of this season. So, and it's with that in mind, the idea that it's not just a 6-month season. They hope that it's something beyond that.
Red Sox players desperately trying to get through as we have blockaded their dugout here in Monterey, wrapping things up. And that's the thing, right? You had Tanner Houck last year, a first-time All-Star.
Yeah.
You had Brian Bayo, the opening day starter. But you've added to the top with Crochet and Buehler, but suddenly Fitz looks like a guy who can pitch at the major league level. And Sean Newcomb has had a terrific... This guy was really good with the Atlanta Braves a while back, had 2 knee surgeries last year, completely different guy than he was in Atlanta. He's sub-1 ERA in the spring. Like, you found a couple of guys here that maybe you weren't sure could do the job every day.
Yeah, and again, there are even options that run deeper than that. We're going to, for instance, we saw Hunter Dobbins early in camp. He's going to end up being part of the minor league depth equation that's going to be able to supply the team. Quinn Priester did not have a great camp, but the Red Sox are still hopeful of what the ultimate talent can be, and the idea that he has a chance to contribute in the rotation eventually. So I think that we're seeing, we're seeing a team that is better positioned to withstand, again, to avoid the, oh my gosh, we have to go a bullpen game, which is going to sabotage the entire pitching staff for days to come. They have guys who you feel comfortable plugging with in order to be able to withstand the normal attrition of the season.
Offensively, the Red Sox were expected to score runs coming in. They scored runs last year. You had Alex Bregman in that mix, and all of a sudden you look at a team that could be really dangerous at the plate. The big story coming into camp was who would be the second baseman.
Yeah.
Kristian Campbell, just an incredible rise over the last 18 months. He'll play some left field too, but he made the team. The opportunity was there, and he won it. It was an impressive camp.
The thing that was most impressive, and the numbers don't look great. Like, we shouldn't, let's not hide the fact that there were some real struggles, right? At the beginning of camp, his timing was off, and there was a ton of swing and miss. And it was like, whoa, is this going to, are the mechanics locked into a place where you're comfortable with what the performance is actually going to be? And the answer was yes. Like, the impressive thing was being able to adjust and adapt over the course of camp, get timing locked in, which is what you're going to see over the ebbs and flows of a major league season, right? Your timing is not always perfect. You have to find your way out of the times when you're not, when that's not the case, and you have to, and are you able to continue learning? And one thing that Alex Cora has continually talked about is the improvement that he's demonstrated over the course of camp in terms of how he turns double plays and how he's able to just continue learning on the fly in a challenging atmosphere. So that's all contributed to that decision to be able to open the season in the big leagues.
It was the big three that got a lot of attention, right? And one of the fun things we kept saying, when you do the games on NESN, the second wave of players comes in, you get a substitute, all of a sudden these guys are coming in.
We're waiting for Kristian Campbell to photobomb us.
Oh, he's listening to everything. Which is why we have nothing but good things. Come on in for a second, Kristian Campbell. All right? Come on in. Jump in real quick.
This is how spontaneity happens.
This is the spontaneity has its time and place. We're literally on the eve of the regular season. How exciting is it to know that you're going to be heading north with the team?
I'm super excited. It's going to be exciting times. I'm ready for the season to get started for sure. So everybody's ready.
You've been such a quick learner throughout the course of your professional career. We're talking about less than 2 years at this point. How ready is it going to be? Is it apply the same thing at the big league level, or is it a little bit daunting to think like, okay, there's going to be a lot thrown at me coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of learning quickly, like you said, throughout kind of my whole minor league career. But it doesn't change. It's all the same. I'm going to keep learning with these coaches, with this staff, and it's going to be little by little, but I'm going to make improvements for sure. I
love what you said the other day, right? Everyone's going to look at your camp and say, you had a great camp. You really turned it on and said, it's been a little more than that. 7 weeks didn't make you a big leaguer, right?
No. It's been consistent work for the last 15 years, like I said. I mean, being in pro baseball, I've learned a lot so far from all the coaches I've had. But been working on this is just baseball forever. So, I mean, it's definitely been a journey for sure.
In the last week of spring training, I feel like we've seen your swing get to a really good place where you are kind of like I'm seeing a lot of line drives to right center as the kind of foundation. Is that where you want to be? Like, you have that and then be able to kind of like pull? Yeah,
that was definitely my sweet spot. I know my swing's going in the right direction whenever I can drive balls to right field. Like you said, these last couple of weeks I've had some home runs over there and some extra base hits over there, so it's coming along well. Just getting my timing down and just trying to stay consistent as possible as the season gets going. Trying to find some footing,
We've been in Monterey where you've been around 20,000+ people. How wild is it going to be to have 40,000+ in Texas?
It's going to be exciting. I'm really ready for it, in my opinion. I'm super excited for it. Everybody's ready for the season to start, and I can't wait to get there.
A lot of fans at home are excited about this team. Tell fans back home what they should know about this group of players. What should they know about the 2025 Boston Red Sox?
It's a special group of players. We got a lot of older guys, a lot of experience on the team. That's the thing everybody should know. So a lot of our players been there, done that. We've had people who won the World Series on this team. We have a lot of great veteran leaders on this team also. And we also got some young guys on this team. So it's a good mix of everybody, but when you put us all together, I think we can be a great team.
One of those young guys, Kristian Campbell, we appreciate dropping by. Get back to work now.
Thank you.
Go to work. They're calling for you over there. You got to go swing. Keep swinging. And there it is. So, right, we've covered this team for a long time.
Yep.
And the excitement of youth, right? Like a guy who's got such a bright future in front of him. But he's a thoughtful guy. He gives you good answers. Like, this is a guy who isn't going to get overwhelmed by the moment. We'll see how it plays out.
Right.
But he's not going to be overwhelmed by the moment.
There's a self-assurance that's really cool. Like, it's not an arrogance by any stretch of the imagination, just this is someone who grew up around a baseball field, right? Used to go all the time to see the Chattanooga Lookouts playing when he was a kid, and befriended D. Strange Gordon over the course of that, and as a result was around professional baseball players for his entire life. And so it's been one of the strangest development processes that I've ever witnessed, because this is someone who, when he was drafted, it would have been a great outcome if he was a big leaguer of any variety over the course of a few years. It seemed like he had so much to learn. He only played 1 year of college ball as a redshirt freshman before the Red Sox drafted him, and yet, even though his teammates were calling him Barry Bonds, he was very humble about the whole ascent that he had last year. But all of a sudden, he's like, wait, they're inviting me to big league camp, so I should have a goal of making the big league team, and then he did. I guess set some goals for yourselves, people.
Well, the great thing is he put in the work, right? You wrote a great piece about how he adopted everything that you wanted him to do in the offseason. He bought in, he put the work in, and it's paid off here.
Mr. Perfect Attendance, right? Show up, do what
That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
I should have gone to class.
Yeah, that was, I skipped a few classes and regret it.
Not
So
you.
Kristian Campbell is teaching us all something.
That's great. All right, let's get to Alex Bregman, because, again, there's so much excitement about the changes they made on the pitching side, and then right before camp began, Alex Bregman officially announced as the addition to the position player side. The third baseman, we'll talk about that in a minute, is really a guy who brings winning experience, championship experience, and Gold Glove caliber third base last year. He joined us for a couple of minutes to talk about the season ahead and this team that he is now on. It's Alex Bregman on 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, the official truck of the Red Sox. Well, it's at the end now. You came in 2 days before, and now you end at a place you love to hit, clearly, because it's why you came back here. We know about the 3-home-run game before. In a way, this was a pretty cool tune-up, wasn't it? Like, this is definitely a step up in intensity from Fort Myers.
Yeah, exactly. I think you nailed it. It's the step up in intensity. It's a little bit more season-like baseball, and to be out here playing in front of these great fans, to play this ballpark, the whole trip's been awesome. It's been good to bond with the guys on the road and get ready for the season together, and I think we're in a really good spot heading into the year.
It is kind of fascinating to think about the fact that you've been a professional baseball player for 10 years, right? You were drafted in 2015. I think I know the number pick that you were. And this is your first time being with a different organization. What has it been like acclimating to a different spring training, a different organization?
It's been great. Really just getting to know all the guys and the coaches in the front office. It's been awesome. They've welcomed me in with open arms, and we've gotten to work since day one, and this organization's focused on winning, and that's something that was ultimately a huge deciding factor in why I came here. So I think the guys' minds are in the right spot, and I think we're ready to have a heck of a year.
I've been fascinated watching the dynamics that have been forming between you guys, because you're feeling each other out, right? Like, you haven't played with a lot of, I'm not sure if you played with any of these guys before. Watching the way that you guys communicate after at-bats has been particularly interesting, and I feel like that's been you, but it's also been like seeing like Roman Anthony, kind of pulling aside another left-handed hitter after he's faced a pitcher. Do you have, how would you characterize just kind of the baseball IQ and the in the baseball passion that exists in this group?
Well, I think you nailed it. Great baseball IQ, passion for the game, guys that want to get better, want to win, guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to help their teammates. As you know, here we haven't faced a lot of these pitchers, so you saw yesterday when Roman faced one of the guys, he came in into the on-deck circle, and I forget who it was, maybe it was Hammy, and told him what the pitcher had, what he saw when he was up there. So, I think that's really important for us to do over the course of the season is to be really good communicators and talk the game and talk baseball and be baseball obsessed if we want to accomplish our goals.
Which comes naturally to you, I know. This game can change, right? When the right guy gets added to the right roster. I think about 2021, Schwarber comes in late in the season, really changed the way the offense clicked, right? All of a sudden, it was just another voice in the cage. Do you remember conversations when you were young, and what's it like now to be on the other end of that, where younger guys are maybe listening to you more than when you were young?
No, for sure. I remember early in my career, we were lucky enough to have some great veterans that came in early on that really made an impact on all of our careers and helped us know how to game plan, know how to prepare, know that what our strengths were and how to execute on the baseball field. And I feel like the best teams communicate with one another. They talk baseball. They help one another out all year long, and they're not afraid to hold each other accountable. And I think that's very important. And I'm looking forward to doing that here with this group of guys. I mean, it's already been awesome. These guys are super motivated and engaged on winning, and I'm looking forward to it.
I have to ask, like, baseball obsessed is a phrase that you just dropped on us. Mm-hmm. It sounds like what time have you been showing up in spring training?
Sometimes a little later. Sometimes you got to prioritize your sleep and recovery during spring training because you're playing early every single day. But I feel like this group in general, whether it's showing up early or staying late and just talking baseball and talking about the season, talking about ways that we can improve, talking about different things that will help one another perform at a high level. It's really been there, and it's been great.
Is there any such thing as too obsessed?
Oh, well, I feel like off the field you got to kind of check out sometimes, and enjoy your family or enjoy your friends or other passions that you have. But when you're here and during that 162, in my opinion, I feel like you should be baseball obsessed and locked in on the task at hand. Alaska
finally opening day in Texas. 8 days later, you'll be at the home opener at Fenway Park. You know the intensity of Fenway. You've seen it from the other side. You know what playoff baseball is like at Fenway Park because you've been there for it. How excited are you to kind of help bring that back? Because it hasn't been there in a couple of years. To be part of a group that's kind of bringing baseball intensity back to Fenway Park.
I'm super excited to be able to play at Fenway opening day and hopefully, like you said, into the playoffs this year. I've been fortunate enough to play in the postseason there and understand the home field advantage that Fenway Park is and the atmosphere that is there, and look forward to this team having a heck of a year and hopefully doing what it takes to bring postseason baseball back to Fenway and hopefully a lot of postseason baseball back to Fenway.
Perfect. Cut the clip right there. Alex, we appreciate the visit. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Walk off. Yeah, drop the mic. Walk it off. So he's the third baseman.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
That means Rafael Devers is the designated hitter.
Also true.
We know that.
Yeah.
We know he's not happy about it. He made that clear. Even when he said, listen, I don't make the lineup. I'm going to do whatever they ask. But I told them what I want.
Yeah.
He made that very clear. And we know what he wants is to play the field.
Right.
Does that become a problem?
I don't think so. I guess we'll find out, right? Like I don't want to pretend to know the future before it happens. I think the answer is in part likely tied into how successful this is.
Right. Is
the team successful? That's a big one. And is Rafael Devers able to forge a routine that he feels comfortable with and produce results that he's comfortable with? And, that's not necessarily easy, right? Like, he's been a slow starter in other seasons as well, so it's not necessarily tethered to the fact that he's going to be completely changing his routines around, but he's going to be completely changing his routines around in order to adjust to a new job description. So, I think that there's inherently discomfort whenever that happens. I think that I like when my job description changes, when yours does, like there can be discomfort, and how well and how quickly do you adapt to that? It's not always seamless, but again, I think that those other circumstances of success matter. So does the group around him, and obviously he's had a great initial relationship with Alex Bregman. They've forged something really good. I think that obviously there's a lot of trust between Devers and Cora, right? They have a long-standing relationship where they can speak pretty plainly to each other, so that helps. And then we'll see.
We haven't talked a lot about Trevor Story.
Yeah.
And I feel so much hinges on him still. I mean, probably better able to withstand an injury, but to just have anything close to the Trevor Story the Colorado Rockies had would be a dynamic change to this lineup. We've seen what he can do when he's healthy. He just hasn't been healthy.
Yeah, well, we've talked a lot about the right-handed hitting aspect of this team, right? Like, Fenway Park is a place where if you're a right-handed hitter who can pull the ball in the air, you're probably getting at least a double and maybe a homer, and there's a lot of good things that are going to happen. So, obviously, signing Bregman represented the Red Sox kind of endorsing that notion. The selection of Kristian Campbell to the roster, that reflects in no small part how much they want to get that right-handed bat in the lineup as well. And then beyond that, there's the Trevor Story question, and that would add a dimension that the Red Sox have been missing over the last couple of years in terms of it's just been such a merry-go-round at shortstop, right? You think about and throughout the middle infield, it's been kind of insane in terms of the revolving door that we've seen at those two positions for the Boston Red Sox over the course of a multi-year period. And so, yeah, I think that, it would be Trevor Story's worked so hard to be healthy. And none of us really knows exactly what healthy Trevor Story at this stage of his career will look like, because it's been a while since we've seen it, but we know that there's been a lot of work to be the best version of himself at this point, and the player that he was in Colorado was special. We've seen some extraordinary glimpses, especially in May of 2022 with the Red Sox when he just went on that home run RBI binge, and so now we'll see whether or not that's available to the Red Sox in 2025.
Well, the Red Sox got through camp, and this is the team they're going for. They had some injuries, obviously, on the back end of the rotation, and they will try to weather those storms early on. But I got to spend all of spring training down in Fort Myers and then Mexico. You kind of came in and out.
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. But you were here grinding it out in Mexico with us. We're going to look back at some of the best moments. We're talking to players over the course of spring training about this team coming together and getting ready for the season ahead. On 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers, the official truck of the Red Sox. I spoke with him this morning about his offseason and his hopes for 2025.
Yeah, really good offseason. Did a lot of eating, a lot of working out, and now ready to start playing again.
I know that you talked about it when you first got here and last year. One of your goals is to add a little bit of velo. That comes with the body, right? The strength that can lead to that?
Yeah, definitely. When you add the mass and some muscle, that allows you to not really think about the velo, and then just kind of starts to build. And definitely with the help of Bales and some of the guys, Dan DeLucia and Junis and AAA, Holty now, we're going to keep working towards building that, because it's only going to help.
Guys used to show up in camp and they'd say, "Oh, it's coming to my hand," but you guys throw so much in the off season. Do you see the results sort of in real time, or is it when you get here with this group that you really start to see the results of it?
Yeah, I think ultimately, it's great to see the results, whether it's a TrackMan or whatever data analyzing tool that we use. But ultimately what matters is when the hitter steps in the box. So I'm excited to get into games here soon and start to see the results where they matter, which is on the field. Had
a whirlwind last year. And you got that start at the end for the Red Sox. What did it mean to get one in with the big club before you went off in the offseason?
It was really cool to be able to pitch at Fenway, to pitch in front of the fans in Boston, and to really experience, what that's going to be like this year. And certainly, towards the end of the game, well, it was the end of the year where the stakes weren't as high. It just made me real excited to pitch in games at Fenway when the stakes are high. And I think it's great to kind of get to know the team, get to know the area a little bit, but really excited for this year. I think it just built a lot of excitement.
You were around the second half in the organization. You get here this spring. They've added some people, both on the pitching side. Bregman comes in at the end. Can you feel sort of a different level of expectations in this clubhouse?
Yeah, definitely. Not being in an organization, just for my first time being in this organization, it's really cool. with having those expectations, because you know that you're doing a lot of things right. So having those guys are going to make our team great, and I just hope to be a part of that.
You get to go Saturday up at Port Charlotte. Nice to get that one early, to get in there and get the rhythm going.
Yeah, definitely. You may as well get it going as early as you can. So I'm really excited, like I said, to get back on the field, start to see that work come in where it matters, and start to work to make this team.
So there he is, the Grapefruit League opening day starter. Quinn Priester throwing just a few minutes ago. Again, a guy who came back bigger, stronger, but velo's the key, right? You talk to people around this organization, even people with the Pirates will tell you, he's a different guy when that fastball is ticking upwards.
Yeah, when you talk about pitching with this organization now, you can't look at the traditional numbers, because he struggled ERA-wise, right, when he was in Pittsburgh and even in AAA. For them, it's more about hitting their marks, hitting their metrics, right, improving shape of pitches. And now it's almost like this lab is almost complete, and let's see what it looks like, because he's added 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. That velocity that was once 92, 93 is hoping to be 95, 96. It's still got that power sinker. He came over to the Red Sox, and like many people, kind of doubled the slider usage, doubled the changeup usage, and it was really effective for him. So I think he's excited to come in here and show that a hard offseason, kind of maybe that velocity, another uptick, but they're really high on him.
Comment yesterday that he made that we didn't just show, but he talked about the young guys, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, Kristian Campbell. He said they should all be in Worcester, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, I love our roster the way it is without those guys. If you're Alex Cora and you've got Tristan Casas talking about who's the third baseman, who's the second baseman, where should these prospects be, does he have to have a conversation with this guy? Can these comments kind of become bigger than they need to be for a team in spring training? Or is this just a player saying what he says and you move on?
No, I think you got to have a talk with him. And it's not like one of these, hey, come in my office, close the door. It's like even just out staring in the field. And by the way, we'll make those decisions, and people, listen, he's going to speak his mind, but it was such a canned response. It should have been, right? When you start talking about where should Devers play, where should Bregman play, should the kids be up in the big leagues, it's simple. It's above my pay grade. I'm here. I'm just going to try to get myself ready to play the game. The Alex Cora, the front office, they'll make all those sort of decisions. But when you come out and say, yes, Rafi should be at third, which means, yes, I want Bregman at second. And by the way, the kids, should they be up here? No, they shouldn't. And the funny thing is that he's rooming with Vaughn Grissom. So when he comes out and says Bregman should be at second, he's basically demoting his roommate. So I don't know what dinner was like last night, but it probably could have got interesting.
Yeah, Casas may have been buying dinner last night. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Might have been talking about the conversations that had to be had. Listen, we joke about it, but this is just, to me, another indication that the Red Sox are back. This is what the Red Sox have always been. Good players, quotes being taken out of context, quotes in context being reacted upon. There's a lot to talk about. Alex Cora walking by a little while and goes, are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Like, this is entertaining for fans.
This is old school when Manny Ramirez would leave camp or be late because his grandmother passed. Well, the fifth time his grandmother passed, people started asking questions. How many grandmothers do you have, right? So this is when you know you're back, right? There's plenty of storylines, not just on the field, but then, of course, you get some comments, and you like honesty. You're getting it.
There's no doubt about it. And the writers talk to Casas a lot, and if I'm a beat writer, I'm going to Casas every day because he's going to say something that is going to make a story for you.
Yeah, 100%. It's just a quick reminder, and I think even afterwards, he's like, well, I'm just saying what I think, and I think it's his way he thinks of defending his teammate, a guy like Rafael Devers, right, who, I know people get all over Rafi and his defense. He did get better last year. He did. That was a bad defensive team. It wasn't because of Rafael Devers. Now, we know the range is what it is, right? He doesn't get the balls. That's the problem. But 12 errors is a career low for him. As Cora said yesterday, 4 of those errors came on that shift when he's playing shortstop against lefties. When we start thinking about 12 errors, Bregman made 10. He won the Gold Glove, but again, it's a range factor, and there's a big difference.
All right, you're looking at outfield while we talk infield, so let's take a break and come back and talk about that outfield. Dwight Evans can teach you a thing or two out there, no doubt about that. Jim Rice here in camp as well. We're turning our attention to the Red Sox outfield, which was really good defensively last year. Can it get even better? We'll discuss. As 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, continues after this. Talking about the outfield today, so here's Hall of Famer Jim Rice. Spent so many years in left field at Fenway Park. He is here in camp as the Red Sox get ready for their first Grapefruit League games this weekend. Another guy who could be back in the outfield this year is Masataka Yoshida, getting ready for his third year with the Red Sox. Remember, 2 years ago, spent most of the season in left field. Last year, he was a DH, full stop. Now that role could be changing. He's coming back from surgery to repair an injured labrum. But yesterday he was asked about playing the outfield versus DH and what he'll be asked to do for the coming season.
Like I said, it's out of my control, right? My job is to, give it all my best to, whatever my job calls for. And so if it is to DH or if it is to play an outfield, I'm just giving my best. And, I'm still here, on this team. So I'm just giving everything I got for this team.
Mas is going to be part of the picture, yeah. I mean, we just got to get him going. Like I said, last year, he was a DH. This year, we need him to play defense. It's a different season.
And so when you look at, health-wise,
I think you are.
Still the most important thing.
Yeah, he started playing catch yesterday. So it's a long process. It was a big surgery, and he's swinging. He's swinging right now, and he knows that we need him to play defense.
Yoshida out there with the outfielders in left field, which is where you expect him to see him if he's going to play in the outfield. Last year, in part because of the shoulder, in part because they had a really good outfield, he never played in the outfield. Mm-hmm. He was the DH. This year, now, even though Rafael Devers says no when you ask him if he's going to be the DH, you may have to move some different guys through the DH spot, which means if Yoshida's going to be in the lineup, he's got to be in the outfield at times. And you and I agree, he should be in the lineup. This guy can still hit. 99 playoff games. He's played 2 World Series championships. He is a guy that is. I wasn't much of a student. We had in chemistry. They would put that one last crystal, and it was supersaturated. The whole thing would crystallize, right? You one more piece. He is that one piece. He's here to teach the young kids, to teach the guys on this team who've been around for a couple of years. Here's what it takes to win in October.
And that's where the value comes in. You forget about on the field stuff. We can get to that, but off the field. The conversations, not just with the big three, in their first real big league camp, but with Rafaela, with Abreu, with Wong, with Casas, with Duran. These are still young players in this league. Like, you're talking about guys at 2 years in the league. So as great as Duran was last year, he could still benefit from sitting around the cage talking to an Alex Bregman. And then, of course, on the field. He's kind of everything you're looking for. And I saw him earlier and said, pretty good start. And he's like, it's only one game. I'm like, yeah, but it was a pretty good start. And he laughed and he smiled. And it's nice for him to get off there. But he's loved the conversations he's had, but on a personal level, working with these hitting coaches. They've already found some things that he was doing he had a good idea what he needed to do too, but he likes where he's at. He thinks it's going to help him hit lefties a little bit better, get back to that walk rate. He's identified, because that's what veterans do, the problem. And it looks like here in Game 1 he's kind of fixed some of those.
What a debut. Hit the home run. He was brought in because the swing profiles well to Fenway Park. This is essentially the same dynamics as Fenway Park. He hit that first home run way up to the top of the wall. Then the second one, the double, would have been a home run at Fenway Park because this is a taller wall here. I mean, that's exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, it is. And, it's funny because the big leaguers, everything is so fine. You know what I mean? And he was talking to me about the last couple of years in this front shoulder. It was really closed because he wanted to stay in there. A lot of times, though, when you make an adjustment like that, it creates a problem. So the more you close, the quicker you fly open. And that was some of the things he was doing the last few years, and I think it really affected him against lefties. Now he's more straight up. He wants to stay there. That front shoulder, just straight right to that pitcher. Everything just sort of load up and just go right to the ball as opposed to closing and opening. And, it's nice that when you work on something, you believe it's going to fix some things, and then you go and see the results on the field. That really makes you believe in it.
Still more than a month before the regular season begins. So nobody's done anything yet, but it was fun to watch him in his first game in a Red Sox uniform. He spoke to the media after the game.
How do you feel to get off to a start like that in your first game for the Red Sox?
No, I felt great. Obviously, it's good to get back out there. That first one you always got a little jitters for every year during spring training. So it was nice to get out there and get started.
Just to pop one over the monster. I mean, that's a big reason why you came here. How good does that feel?
No, I felt great. Kind of breaks the ice on spring training. You kind of get to feeling a little bit better We've been working hard on some mechanical things that I was doing early in my career that I kind of stopped doing the last few years, and been working hard in the cage with Pete and Dylan and Rosie, and I'm just happy to see some good swings today.
What's that adjustment like when you've been somewhere for so long and you have, your hitting coaches there, then you have new ones here, obviously probably similar, different ideas. What's that adjustment period like for you?
No, it's been great. Obviously, a lot of the similar things, but maybe some different terminology. But I've been fortunate to have some really good hitting coaches in my career with Snit and Cintron and in Houston, and then now these three guys here. It's been pretty cool.
You said you were working on things from earlier in your career that you stopped doing.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your decision, or did they figure it out, the hitting coaches?
Kind of both. Kind of been feeling some different things mechanically over the last few years that I kind of wanted to get sorted out, and they noticed the same things, and just trying to work on it and get feeling good before the start of the season.
Yeah, what are those mechanical tweaks?
Yeah, I was a little more turned in, and my hands were launching from a lot further back the last few years, so we tried to kind of keep them inside my frame today, and felt good to square a few balls up.
Just with Crochet pitching today, Tristan at first, Trevor at short, kind of a big part of your team out there today. They kind of feel something out there today just to have so many guys out there?
No, I felt great. I think a lot of guys are super pumped to get underway. We're all extremely excited about this season. We know we got a lot of work to do, and we know we got a lot of preparation here in Florida before heading into the season, but it just felt nice, and I think everybody had a smile on their face today when they got here because they knew they were in the lineup.
What was it like just watching Garrett from third base?
Oh, it looked great. Punched the side in the first. His stuff's electric. Just in facing him over the past few years, he's been fun to watch, difficult to face, so glad I'm on his team.
What was it like just taking the field in front of these fans for the first time today?
Oh, it was great. It was a packed house today, which is pretty cool, so pretty awesome for a spring training game, and definitely could feel the energy.
You talked about getting booed by Red Sox fans in the past. You probably got the loudest ovation of anyone in the lineup today. What was it like just kind of having that energy behind you and then hitting the home run and the reception you got?
No, it felt great. Obviously, I've heard that home run song a few times on the other side of things, so it felt a little bit better to have it on our side today. But no, it was a blast to go out there and play, and obviously this is just the beginning of the year, and just looking forward to continuing to play hard for them.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
So that was spring training. This was something different.
Yeah.
The Monterey experience was amazing. It really was. That first game, Marcelo Meyer said, it is the most fun I have ever had playing baseball. The atmosphere was electric. Alex Cora, who in the weeks leading up to it was like, we got to go to Mexico right before every day. Comes over to me in the middle of the game when I was sidelined, and he said, you catching this? What do you think? This is awesome.
Yeah.
Jaron Duran asking for permission to go spend an inning with me in the camera while signing every ball he could find.
That's amazing.
They were clearly touched by the energy, the love of the game, the passion for baseball they found here in Mexico.
It's been extraordinary and a totally different way of ramping up for the season, but I think a great one, right? Because you flip on the lights, you have an extra deck, right? The third deck, the quote-unquote third deck that you hear teams talking about as they get ready for the season all the time. Like there will be that extra adrenaline boost of having the third deck. They have it here, and it's in a packed stadium. It's at night. Everything has been in sharp relief everything was in sharp relief with like a really invested crowd that brought a wonderful energy. You saw just unique ways in which the players were kind of lit up by that, and I do think that Richard Fitz talked in his start when he was sitting at 96, 97 for a lot of the outing and touching 98. You heard him talking about how yes, there was definitely a shot of adrenaline that you did not get at any other point of spring training. So there is something that's pretty productive about using this as a ramp-up opportunity for the season. But culturally, and like from a sports sociology standpoint, it's been incredible. Like, great city, great environment, great ballpark. Really, really cool life experience.
Yeah, highly recommend. If you get a chance to come see a game at Estadio Mobile Super, you should get down here and check it out. There was a great clinic on the final day where Jaron Duran and Marcelo Meyer and Brennan Bernardino took part with Sultanes players, and there were lots of kids on hand, and we were checking it out. Lots of laughs, lots of smiles, and then I spoke to the three of them. Here's what they said about the experience of coming to Mexico right before the season. Talking about just being out there today and watching kids with the enthusiasm, like, you still get a kick out of watching kids, learn the game and get excited about the game?
Yeah, I mean, some of those kids' swings are really good. I was like trying to mimic some of their swings, but it's just awesome to see the kids like that. So excited to play baseball, especially just how people can connect on a sport from across the world.
One of the cool things about this trip is you really see how much the game means to people here. You were out there autographing everything for like an inning and a half last night, but it's pretty cool to see that enthusiasm, isn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think one of the most fun parts was deciding to throw the ball to left or right, and I was trying to see which side got louder. But then the side on the left missed, so I had to give it to the right side. So
the atmosphere was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was electric.
Did you feel it on the field? Like, did it feel different?
Yeah, I was so nervous at the box. I was absolutely terrified. I was like, I just felt like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to, kind of put on a show for these fans and everything. So.
And I'll ask you finally, I think sometimes, opening day in Tokyo, an event like this, sometimes you look at it and say, man, that's a lot for you guys to deal with. But it always feels like when you get here, Dominican last year, here this year, like you realize why these moments are kind of special and important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's always fun to come to a place like this because how often do you get to do this? I mean, it means a lot to us, and I know it means a lot to them. So, I was talking to some of their guys over there, and they said it's an awesome experience for them also. So it's not like we're an inconvenience for them or vice versa. So it's always fun to connect with people like that.
Just talk about being out there with kids. I mean, they're not much younger than you, but but is it still cool to watch kids get excited about the game and watch them learn the game in front of you?
It's awesome. I mean, those kids looked incredible. It just shows the amount of work that they're putting in and the way that the game's growing here in Mexico. Obviously, me being Mexican, this was something that I really wanted to do. It's not every day that we get to come out here and help out the community in any way that we can. So this was a really fun experience.
Because of your heritage, you of all people understand what baseball means here. But we saw it last night, didn't we? I mean, the atmosphere was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. The culture in Mexico is it's the best thing I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, the way that the fans were into the game, and the amount of Red Sox fans that were at the game was truly incredible. And not only me, but everyone in this dugout was blown away with the experience.
Did it feel different on the field? Like, did you feel the energy?
100%. Yeah, I mean, the crowd was going crazy all game, and as a player, that's really what you want to see. They bring the energy, and it was a good time.
You had a nice night. You're going to have a lot of good nights in the future, but will this be one you'll remember?
For the rest of my life, yeah. I'd say last night was probably the most fun I've ever had playing the game of baseball.
We talked about this on the field, but to be back here and kind of giving back, the game has given you a lot, as you said, but what does it mean to be able to share that with kids?
Oh, it's an amazing feeling, especially in Mexico, where it's done so much for my family and myself, this country has, that it just felt only right and an amazing opportunity to be able to come here and give back and work with the kids.
You, of all people, knew what this was going to be like atmosphere-wise. How cool was it to see the reaction from your teammates when they saw it last night?
Good, because I've been pumping it up forever, and I'm like, are they ever going to actually experience it, or do they just think I'm hyping it up? But I've had a number of teammates come up to me today or last night and be like, all right, dude, like, you wasn't blowing smoke, like, you was telling the truth. And it felt good to share that with him.
Marcelo just said it's the most fun he's ever had playing baseball. I mean, it's kind of old school, right? Like, they're here for the love of the game. The stadium isn't a palace, but it's a really cool place to see a game and you're on top of it. Like, it's kind of the roots of baseball in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. I mean, the fans, like, they're watching the whole game. When they want to strike out, everyone's yelling, Ponche, Ponche. It's just like everyone's in the game watching together, and it's baseball. One of the amazing things about baseball, right? They love it here.
Your baseball journey has taken you around the world, and events like this, and the Tokyo opening day, the Dominican last year, like, I know as players it'd be easy to say, can we just keep it simple? But you get to an event like this and you realize why it's important, why it's special, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You know what? I think it's our job to pay it forward and grow the game of baseball. And when you go to places that love baseball, you make more people fall in love with it in those countries when you bring, the major league team there. And I think it's our job to go do that. And I love that MLB's doing that.
So there it is. You can hear it in the answers, like just what it meant to be a part of this. And as you said, just a very cool stepping stone towards, one step closer to the real thing. Now we get to the real thing. I didn't tell you we were going to do this, but prediction time.
Oh, no.
I do not like that. I hate doing it.
Hate predictions.
How many wins?
More than 81.
God.
Yeah,
Just a little more than 81.
I'm going with I am declaring them a 90-win team.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've been saying 92.
Okay.
So I think we're in that ballpark.
Yeah.
But you get in the 90s. October is on the table, and it's been a while
October
since
isn't just on the table. It would be shocking if it's 90. If you're cracking 90, then you're cruising into October usually.
92 might win you the division because
especially
the injuries that we've seen go through the American League East have been remarkable.
It's been
the division
it's been something like 30
open.
years since we've seen an AL East team win with fewer than 93, I think. But nonetheless, I think that you're right. This is a strange year for the division where you saw, there's no Juan Soto and there's no Garrett Cole in New York. The Orioles are a little bit banged up. I still think that we sometimes forget how ridiculously talented their young core is, and how they kind of represent what the Red Sox hope their young core gets to, which it might quickly. But I think that I do think that this is going to be a year where the AL East can be won with fewer wins than in a while.
Really important question. Where do you stand on Toronto? Because I think they're such a polarizing team right now. If you're picking, I think they're going to be good, and a lot of people really don't think they're going to be good.
Yeah, I think that they're right at the projecting for like 82 wins line. So they need to get hot, otherwise they're trading off dudes at the trade deadline.
As our friend the comedian Jimmy Dunn once said, the 3 sure signs of spring in Boston: the cherry blossoms, potholes on Storrow Drive, and someone at Nesson is picking Toronto to win the AL East. So we do it every year.
I've learned my lesson by backing off of them.
They just don't do it every year. All right, time to play ball. It's going to be a fun ride. I really do. I think this team's going to be fun. We'll see if they can live up to the expectations. But I think, unlike last year's, previous years, recent years, I don't think they need to get off to a good start. You know what I mean? The last couple of years, you're like, they really need to get off to a good start to build some momentum, have some believability. Again, you want to get off to a good start, but I just think it's a good team. I think when you're a good team, Houston last year, you can withstand a slow start if that's what happens.
Right. The quote-unquote optics of what you're doing in the first 2 weeks of May matter less when you are thinking more in terms of the bigger term projections of what the team is supposed to be. Now, even really good teams can blow it at the beginning of the season. Saw it in 2019 with the Red Sox team that had won a World Series. But yes, there's more time to build into being who they're going to be, because I do think that they have reinforcements where they have a chance to be a team that continues to get stronger over the course of the season.
You ready for another season?
Sure.
Of 310 to left? Not about the baseball thing. We'll be coming at you twice a week. Alex, it's been a great spring training, the 10 or 12 days you were there. I enjoyed your company.
Thanks for letting me pick my spots. You're the warrior here.
But we both got through Mexico, and what a great trip it was. Now it's time to get it going for real. Opening day in Texas. Opening day at Fenway Park, just over a week away. We'll be here throughout the entire season, of course. Thanks for catching this edition of 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, the official truck of the Red Sox. For Alex Spear and all our crew down here in Monterrey, Mexico, I'm Tom Garrett. We'll see you again next time.